Hello everyone, DJ back in with another deck review. This is the Fulton's October playing cards. And it says just that on the front of the box, Fulton October and playing cards. As Halloween themed, you got like a gate and a haunted house going on, something like that. You got, this is kind of funny, there's a ghost with legs chasing a couple of skeletons. They're freaking out, and then there's a full moon, there's some bats flying around, and there's also a skeleton with a pumpkin head. They're all running away from this ghost. It's kind of funny. One side says the D&D Playing Card Company, Hollywood, California. The other side, designed by Brad Fulton, illustrated by Stephen Noble. The top says Playing Cards. The bottom, the D&D logo in bones. I think that's kind of cute. Kind of cool. Different. And it says dandave.com and just their address and whatever. The back is the same as the front, which is the first little misstep because that's kind of lazy to me. They could have done more with that. They could have put, I mean, how hard would it have been to put the back design of the cards on the back of the box? Or something else, you know? But they didn't. So that's kind of lazy. On the flap, you got what I guess is a moon or something, a couple of bats flying around. Down here, a couple of skeletons, or skulls, I should say. Inside the box, they actually went to the trouble to detail this. They got, I guess, ravens or whatever flying around. You got skeletons in there. There's one hanging off a tree. It looks like there's a roll of toilet paper there. They'll probably throw it on there. There's another skeleton sitting on top of a tree. There's a pumpkin head guy. The moon, some clouds. And there's another guy sitting here outside this house. And just a lot of details. It's pretty cool. It's different, especially from Dan and Dave. But it's still kind of a little bit disappointing. Inside, you'll see why. Inside you get an ad card. It says the Dan and Dave logo, and it says designer playing cards, dandave.com on the bottom. The back, you see a back design, which is pretty cool. It's got a couple of skulls, some skeletons in each corner, a couple of bats, all sorts of details. And also there's a little F on here for Fulton's. Right there where my finger is. It's pretty cool. Definitely one of the more fun and original back designs they've had in a long time. Let's get another card that has that skull on it that says Fulton's October 2013 first edition, first printing. And it says, as winds blow cold and candles flicker, dearly departed play pranks in guise, and it says, more tricks and treats as the harvest moon rise. And produced Dan and Dave, designed Brad Fulton, illustrated Stephen Noble. Let's see on there a little bit of information. Number cards are completely standard USB-C. Code cards are this. All the queens look like that. It's kind of cool. It's a skeleton wearing some kind of a fancy old style dress with a flower and lots of flowers in her hair. The Jokers, there's two of them, they look like that. It's a skeleton, his head is flying off, his hand is falling off, and he's got some other bone that's come loose and it's flying around. Maybe it's his penis bone, I don't know. The Kings all look like that. They're holding a stick with an owl on it. And of course, it's a skeleton in a suit type thing. Okay, so you mentioned all the jacks look like that. Again, wearing a hat, kind of a suit, and again, skeletons, and throwing some kind of a feather or something. So there's another king, same thing. Queen, same thing. Ace of Spades isn't bad. That's a couple of skeletons picking up a spade pip that says D&D playing cards. Hello everyone, I'm back. I don't know exactly where I left off because my memory card got filled up. But anyways, There's the Ace of Spades. I think that's where we left off. A couple of skeletons on there, following the spade pip. And it says D&D Playing Card Company, Hollywood, California. There's another king, another queen. They're all the same, except for one. Another joker, again the same as the other one. Yeah, another couple more jacks there. As you can see, they clearly do have the same artwork, which is kind of, it's not even kind of, it is 100% lazy. The only court card they bothered to customize to make it different than the other ones is the Suicide King. The King of Hearts is the only king that's different than the others. The only court card that's different than the others. And as you see, he's got a sword going right through his head and out his eye. Kind of funny. That's it. The cards have a nice stock and finish. I believe it's an Eckerson finish with a bicycle stock. It's got a pretty thin border, which is always good. Clumping a little bit after a little bit of use, but compared to some of the other Fulton decks, or pretty much all the other Fulton decks, it is so far pretty good, quality wise. However, this deck is leaving pretty much everyone, including myself, a little bit underwhelmed, a little bit disappointed. And I mean, I've gone on the forums and I've seen comment after comment after comment after comment after comment, etc., of people saying the same things. They're underwhelmed. It's not as good as they thought. The quality is pretty good, as you can see. The spread's nice, the fat's pretty good, and everything. The deck design's pretty cool. It's different, especially for a Dan and Dave deck and everything. However, these guys have had, what, almost a year to design this deck. They haven't done any other decks. They haven't had any releases up to now since, like, the Smoke and Mirror Carbon decks came out. I think that was the last one they did, and those other Ace Fulton Casino decks. And they come out with a box that is the same on both sides. They decide to spend all the time putting art on the inside of the box that you can't even really see. And then the rest of the deck is just a little lackluster. I mean, all the court cards, all the queens have the same image, all the jacks have the same image, and all the kings except for the King of Hearts have the same image. That's pretty lazy, especially coming from a company like Dan and Dave, and coming from Brad Fulton and Steve, whatever his name was, Stephen Noble. They could have done so much more. I mean, like I said, they had almost almost a year to design this thing, and that's the best that you come up with. That is pretty pathetic, in my opinion. And I'm not trying to be harsh or anything like that, or I'm not trying to, you know. I mean, it's a cool deck. I like it. It's nice to see something different from Dan and Dave. It's nice to finally see something from Dan and Dave, but when you've had all this time to design and produce this deck, and you only produce 3 court cards, 4 court cards, if you will, and not much else, that's pretty pathetic. And then the Jokers, I mean, they're kind of cute, but anyone can draw that in about half an hour. That's it. I mean, I'm guessing anyways. There's nothing complicated about it. But then on top of that, they got these 2 wasted cards. In my opinion, they're wasted. I would have made a double backer. I still can, I guess, if I want to. Just glue them together. But they could have included a double backer and a blink card. They could have included just 1 ad card. They could have put some of this information on the box. We don't even need a card with this Dan and Dave logo. That's already on the box. And then we really need a card telling us who produced it, designed it, and illustrated it. I think we're pretty, you know, we know it's a Fulton deck. We know it's Dan and Dave deck. We don't need a card telling us that. Dan and Dave, for some reason, they put these decks, 56 cards, but only 54 of them are good. Makes no sense. But anyways, that's the October deck. And as I said, a little bit disappointing. Everyone feels the same way. I'm sure you will too. But outside that, kind of cool. Pretty nice, but the handle is good compared to the other Fulton decks. It's probably the best out of all the Fulton decks for sure that they've released. But at the same time, it's leaving me a little bit underwhelmed. Anyways, that's what I've got, and see you next time.